Code and the BBC Microbit. I'm Dave Semelink from GoDigitalSA Foundation, and I'm your instructor for this course. So we're on Unit 3 now, Variables. So Lesson A, Variables in Daily Life. What we'll learn, the difference between variables and constants, and 5 types of variables that we find in Make Code. So let's talk variables and constants. A variable is information with values that may change during a program. So we can say that the team is home. In this case, we've got a scoreboard. So we could say that the team is home, or this team is away. And we could say we've got a variable called score, where the score is 25, or the score is 37. So the variable name might be team, or the variable name could be another variable, could be score. There are different types of variables depending on the kind of information they hold. In MakeCode, the type of variable is assigned the first time you use the variable. From then on, you can only change the variable value to another value of the same type. And we'll explain that just now. In constants, it's like a variable, but with values that don't change. In mathematics, we've got things like pi. Pi is a constant that is equal to 3.14, approximately. And there's other constants. So in programming, we can have a named value that does not change for the entire program. So that's a constant. So types of variables. Okay, we can have lots of different types of variables. In MakeCode, these are the types that we've got. We've got a number, which holds numeric values, string, which holds a string of alphanumeric characters, and alphanumeric normally means alphabetic characters, letters A to Z, uppercase or lowercase, numeric characters, which are 0 to 9, and it also includes punctuation marks and symbols. So $, full stop, exclamation mark, and so on. Those are all characters that you can put into a string. Boolean, this has only 2 possible values, true or false. And very often we'll also see it shown as yes or no, or 0 or 1. A sprite, it's a special variable that holds 2 values for the row and column to represent the location of a dot on the microbit screen. And array is a special variable that holds a list of multiple items. Okay, so here we've got an example of code in MakeCode where we say on start we want to set these variables to values. So we've got a variable called number variable. We've given it this name and we're setting it to 29. We've got a variable that we called string variable, and we're setting it to hello. We've got a variable named Boolean variable, and we're setting it to true. We've got a variable called sprite variable, and we're setting it to create a sprite at x2, y2. Okay, so that means that this sprite variable is currently set to the LED at x is 2 and y is 2. And here we've got a variable named list, which we're setting to an array of red, orange, and yellow. So the value of list is the set of red, orange, and yellow. Okay, and we'll see as time goes on what all of this means. So understanding variables. Let's play rock, paper, scissors with a partner. And we want to keep a score on a piece of paper and identify the variables and constants on the score sheet. Okay, do you know the game rock, paper, scissors, where you have 2 people and they make a hand signal? And it could be paper, which looks like this, or it could be rock, like that, or it could be scissors, like that. So the 2 people put out their hands, one showing one symbol, the other one showing one symbol. If they both do the same symbol, then it's a tie. If one does paper and the other one does rock, paper covers rock, so the one who did the paper wins. If one did rock and the other one did scissors, then rock breaks scissors, so the one who did rock wins. And if one did scissors and the other one did paper, then because scissors cut paper, the one who did scissors wins. Okay, so we want variables. Well, we could say it's the score of person A, and it's the score of person B, and we could also keep track of the number of ties. Okay, so when you're playing a game, we'll have game 1, And and we got two people, Mary and Doug. So Mary wins a game, Doug wins a game, and they both tie. We keep their scores by making tick marks here. And it's only when one person has more wins than the other that the game is finished and that person wins. So here, Doug ended up with 5 wins. Mary had 4 wins, so Doug wins game 1. And here we've got game 2, where Mary got 6. There were 4 ties, and Doug got 4, so here Mary wins. So the variables are Mary's score, Doug's score, and the number of ties. So that's all there is to constants and variables. So we learned about constants and variables in real life and in programming, and we learned about the 5 types of variables when coding the microbit. So in lesson B, we're going to code the microbit as a game scorekeeper, and then we'll take a quiz. So lesson B, make a game scorekeeper. And what we'll learn, we want to code with string and number variables. We want to assign meaningful values, meaningful names to the variables. We want to use math operations with variables, and then we want to see how much we've already learned. So to code a game scorekeeper with variables, we're going to create and name the variables. We're going to initialize the variable values. We'll update the variable values as people win games. We'll add user feedback, and we'll show the final values, and we can add on with some math operations. So we'll see what all of that means just now. Okay, so we're going to create 3 variables. From the variables toolbox drawer, we're going to click on the Make a Variable button. And we'll name the variables player A wins, player B wins, and players tie. So we'll go to the toolbox, we'll go down to variables, click on that, then we'll click on Make a Variable. We'll give it a name, player A wins, and we click on OK. Then we click on Make a Variable, type in player B wins, and click on OK. Then we click on Make a Variable, and players tie, and click on OK. Next, we have to give the variables starting values of 0. So from the variables toolbox drawer, we drag out 3 set variable blocks onto the workspace and drop them into the onStart block. And we use the drop-down menus to select the 3 variables. Okay, so we want on start, we want to set players tie to 0, player B wins to 0, and player A wins to 0. Now we want to add to the scores. To add to the score, when you press a button from the input toolbox drawer, we drag out 3 on button pressed blocks onto the workspace, and using the drop-down menus, we select button B, button A plus B. Okay, so in the toolbox, we go to Input, and we're going to select the On button pressed block. And we select button A, then button B, then button A plus B. And then we have to change the variable's values to add to the score. So from the variable toolbox drawer, we drag out the 3 change variable blocks onto the workspace and drop into each of the On button pressed blocks. Using the drop-down menus, we select each of the 3 variable names. Okay, so the variables, we're going to change player A wins by 1 when button A is pressed. When button B is pressed, we change player B wins by 1. And when A and B buttons are pressed at the same time, then we change players tie by 1. We also need to see which button changes what variable. So from the basic toolbox drawer, we drag out 3 show LEDs blocks onto the workspace and drop into each of the on button press blocks. And we draw an A, a B, and a T on the screen. So we show LEDs A when the button A is pressed. We show LEDs B when button B is pressed. And we show LEDs T when A and B are pressed at the same time. And after that, we clear the screen after showing A, B, or T. To display the final values of each variable, from the input toolbox drawer, we drag out an on-shake block onto the workspace. So when the user shakes the microbit, we want to display who wins. So we show the letter A and we show the value, we show number, player A wins, so that's the value of that variable, and then we wait for a second. Then we show a letter B, we show the value of player B wins, and we wait for a second. Then we show ties, and we show the number players tie, the value of players tie, and then we wait for 1 second, and then we clear the screen. Okay, so let's open a browser and start coding. Okay,